So, ladies and gentlemen, please, your applause for Mrs. Suzanne Madelung. Herzlich willkommen. Sie kommen aus Deutschland, aus Leipzig habe ich schon gehört. So, well, the future is full of challenge. That's exactly the fil rouge of this afternoon, to confront a little bit all those men and women who are entrepreneurs. Can you do it in 25 minutes? I know that you have a taxi waiting for you because you have to take the plane back. Okay?
Okay, I'll try and do it in less.
Thank you very much for being here.
At the beginning, when you spoke, my Dutch and my French is very bad.
Yeah, really?
But I got the impression that we're supposed to talk about something that's black, round, and smells.
Wow, very good.
Was I correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Het is rond, het is zwart en het stinkt.
Well, that's not true.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. I would like to thank Rubcycle for the invitation today. In between the breaks, we've already had quite a bit of discussions, which make me actually think that I've brought the wrong presentation. But I'll go on ahead in any case, and would like to actually show the previous presenters. They were full of vision. They had a lot of great ideas, and we need vision in Europe, in the world today. But we also need to solve the small things in life, and because between the vision and turning it into practice, sometimes that is a very long road. And I would like to show today a part of the road that we have actually gone along. I also got the impression that the company sitting here today is very diverse, so I don't want to speak in too much detail, but of course would like to actually show what one can actually do with an end-of-life tire. We don't collect ourselves. We have partners in Europe that bring us the tires. That was quite an obvious decision for us in the beginning, because we knew that there are experts for that, and our expert know-how is actually in the development of new products. So we receive the tire as a waste material, which for circular economy, for the idea of reusing a material in another application, we of course first have to change the waste into a secondary raw material. We do that, of course. We have a granulation plant which produces about 16,000 tons of granulate a year, of which most of it we use for our own products, but we of course also sell some of the granulate to customers who use it again for other applications. They vary from things such as mixing it into a polymer blend for industrial applications in paints. Then those are usually powders, plus of course the topic at the moment, which is quite hot, using it as infill and so forth. The granulation plants that we have are 4 in total, and they run in a 3-shift system. We of course use a lot of energy. The one thing that I was missing a bit today on the previous presentations was recycling is important, yes, to promote a circular economy, but that's not for free. Even recycling costs energy. We need a lot of energy in order to get those tires small, to separate the granulate from the textile and from the fluff. After that, we have a complete separate production. We store the granulates in warehouse and outside, and have very many recipes that we use to then make products. And it's similar to what you may know of in playground surface products, tiles, where of course the mold in itself is very small. We have a different mold. Our molds are very, very large. They weigh at least 2.5 tons, and they are made in a system. If you look at the point 3 at the top, the bale production is actually, we mix the raw materials together with additives, binders, and we make a huge roll, a very big cylinder. And the recipe for the product that it's supposed to become is already in that cylinder. So we can fluctuate with densities, we can play with surface, whether it's a closed surface, an open surface. Those are all things that are then done in the bale production. The material then, of course, goes outside and is stored and then cut in what we call a converting line. The converting line, depending on the order of the customer, he decides on the thickness, the length, the width, and we have various technologies with which we then peel this cylinder like an apple, and then we make sheeting. It's endless sheeting. In a sense, it's about, depending on the thickness of the material, between 150 and 400 meters. We have developed products with particular interest groups, usually in terms of vibration and sound. Our cities are becoming bigger, population is increasing, and all city planners know that we have one big problem, and that is noise. And the intention is, of course, to reduce noise, for which actually these types of products are ideal. Just to give you an idea, I've brought some pictures along to show you the sorts of even colorful things that we can do, where we use EPDM. A black mat is not always very pretty, but our applications are usually in places that you don't see. So in fact, the color is irrelevant. But of course, we also have sports applications where our material is on the surface and color there becomes an option. On the right-hand side, you see the molded production. That's probably something that a lot of you know already, which are used in playgrounds or as paving materials. Then, of course, there are other integrated applications, which are normally what we call in situ. The recycled rubber is usually at the bottom, and you put an EPDM layer on the top. And the applications here are usually also sports-related, either tartan fields, horse applications, and places where actually weight plays quite an important role. The acoustic solutions are those that I would like to concentrate on today. I think the speaker after me, he will be speaking about rubberized asphalt on roads, another application for materials from end-of-life tires. And the bottom picture, of course, is what everybody probably in this room already knows. It's infill material for sports applications. We started in 2004 with a very small set of products, very few customers. It was a very narrow range of materials, and up to date in 2017, we have expanded very largely, and also are exporting worldwide, which shows actually that there is a demand for these kind of products. But also important is, if you're coming from the waste stream aspect, is that you have to consider that quality control in these kind of products play a very large role. Because if you don't control the flow of your raw material, you will have problems with your products. That is actually why why we actually have our own granulation line. Because we decided that if we granulate ourselves, we have our process in our hands, we know the quality requirements that we have, and therefore we actually know exactly how clean our material should be. So in fact, we have very many crumb sizes that we use. We also know that if we mix certain crumb sizes together, we have the mechanical and physical attributes that we're actually looking for, so that of course it makes product development much more challenging and easy. The clean part is of course also an issue, because everyone knows that the rubber is mixed with steel and textile fiber. The importance is separating it properly and well. And if you don't do that, then of course for the next stage of product development, you have an additional cleaning process that you then have to implement. Recycling is a high investment. You know, we have a lot of machines. They need a lot of energy in order to function. In construction products, some applications I've brought along today to show you the actual possibilities that are around already now. There are underscreed, these are all applications for acoustics. You can put it underscreed, you can put it between the screed and your surface that you have in your home. You can use it to decouple. So if you actually are building a building where you have a set of concrete stairs and you want to decouple the stairs from the floor that you're on, you can also put rubber pads underneath to ensure that you don't have noise transfer from one level to the other. And that is actually where this type of material is perfect, because it can withstand a lot of weight and it doesn't lose its thickness, so it doesn't lose its properties. Then, of course, if you're building today and your neighbor next door is very close, you can also put these kinds of materials in between walls to acoustically decouple the one wall from the other wall. And then, of course, there are very simple applications. This is from where the industry started. Roofing material that you can protect waterproof membranes from damage. And that is actually where this business originally started from. Here's just a house to show you of even more possibilities that are available. From the garage, where everything that you see that is green has a rubber mat underneath. There's a close-up. Then you can see again under the screed, you have the possibility in areas where you have a washing machine. There you can see, or the heat tanks in walkways where there's a lot of noise. Also in rooms, underflooring, in the walls. So in fact, the applications are they have a wide variability. And we have customers that come to us also with ideas and say, we would like to develop a product with these and these characteristics. Can this be made out of recycled rubber? Here's the playground application that almost everybody knows. Solar heating is also, of course, an issue where our panels are often put underneath. And under terraces to protect the water membrane from damages. The industry has actually come, in my mind, the industry has come far. We've been the circular economy for a material that is inherently difficult to recycle. I think we've done an excellent job. The plastics industry, they have a much easier time. We have an independent industrial sector, which is growing, which is important. In Germany, according to our German laws, the SBR that we actually manufacture is a secondary raw material. It is no longer a waste. I know that's not the case for all EU countries. And we have a very good balance at the moment. We have more than 50% of our end-of-life tires are actually used for material recycling. In fact, Germany got a slap on the wrist from the EU because we had a waste management law that was not implemented 100% according to EU law. We have the waste hierarchy, and Germany chose to ignore the waste hierarchy for many years. They actually said that thermal burning is equivalent to material recycling. And the Deutsche Umwelthilfe, the German environmental, it's a private organization, they actually wrote a complaint to the EU, which got this whole ball rolling. And now our laws are compliant to EU laws. But it was an interesting effect because it was changed about a year, 2 years ago now, and we're waiting to see the effects because, of course, now the pressure is increasing. Companies are now know that they are having more difficulty, that it's becoming more costly to actually burn the tire, and they are, of course, trying to find alternative methods for material recycling. Our material in these construction products are actually exchanging virgin material. So this is a real example of circular economy. We have a tire that has come to the end of its life. It is physically changed, not chemically changed, but it's physically changed. And part of that tire is used in a new application, which then can re-enter the product stream and be used for many, many years to come. That's the most fantastic thing about the rubber. We can have it in a building for 100 years. The building might fall down, but the rubber is still there. In order to make products, the market is demanding more and more regulatory aspects. This is good, but it's also strenuous, and it is a big challenge. Companies today who aren't certified according to 9001, 14001, in Germany we have the 50001, which is an energy audit that we have to do. It becomes difficult to create a business. And for me as a product developer, I'm of course a bit worried about the actual red tape that we are creating in our society, that instead of moving forward with a lot of good ideas are slowed down by red tape. We have a high reproducibility of products. That's one of the main reasons to actually be in a market and resell your product. If your product is poor, the customer is not going to come back. He's going to buy from you once, and then he's going to say, thank you very much. I either want my money back or I'm not going to buy from you again. So that's a big step to take from an end-of-life tire that has no longer a use on the road, but needs to find a new application somewhere else. And we, of course, firmly believe garbage in is garbage out. So we also have to have a closer contact with the collectors, with the people that are on the waste side of the material, to actually make them see more that for them, they collect the waste and they get rid of it again, and at the end of the day, they're left with them. They want the money. It's a money-driven. But if we really want to do circular economy, we also have to realize if I have this waste and I want to either receive money for it or pay money for it, if the waste is a poor product and I have to pay for it, I'm a consumer like everybody else. So why would I buy a poor product? And this communication, I think that's where institutions like Rubcycle or Cygnus or Ecopnoise, all in Europe, can actually do quite a good job in actually communicating between the two aspects to make this circular economy really work. We have been involved in standardization for over 10 years. I have been the Dean representative for Germany in CEN for 10 years on materials made from end-of-life tires. And I can tell you today, unfortunately, we've made a long trip, but we still don't have a document in our hand, which I think is actually impeding the system. We need to move quicker. If we really want to do something and move the circular economy, we have to be more proactive. We have some countries that aren't even participating, although they have large sectors of tire recycling. And I ask myself, why are they not present? So we have a lot of work ahead because we want to make new products, but our products are not standardized. We take the standards from other products, from plastics or TPEs or whatever, and we assimilate them to our application and use them. But in fact, what we need is we need our own standards. In order to actually seriously establish ourselves in this industry, we actually need to move proactively ahead. In the break today, I had a few conversations with a few people about our market difficulties. If I had known that it was at the tip of everybody's tongue, I would have done a totally different presentation today. I think we all know that we have serious issues that we have to deal with at the moment. And I think because so many people are involved, and of course we have so many countries that are involved, everyone has their own opinion. Some are for, some are against. One gentleman said to me today that we should maybe just decide either we have to burn the tire or put it back in the tire. I would actually like to appeal to everybody that that's not necessary, that there are alternatives providing we move forward a little bit quicker and find solutions, a common denominator for which we can all work together. The EU wants to promote a circular economy. We heard the speeches, the presentations earlier on. I thought they were actually quite inspiring, but also for me a little bit abstract, because I find for us it's the practical example that has to function. I almost felt bad coming here and speaking to you because I thought those guys were so inspirational, and I'm just coming and speaking to you about a few products that we make. But everything starts small. So if we have a future, this is the beginning. And people like to talk about downsizing or upsizing because it's a competitive thing. You know, the one product is bad. If we're downsizing, it's bad. It's better to upcycle. Let's devulcanize the rubber. But I think there's space for everybody. I don't think we're going to, unless the vision of the gentleman before me, where we're going to have totally different cars come soon, we're still going to have to deal with an end-of-life tire. Another issue, of course, is that the products that we're competing with, like foams, for example, in our line, they're cheap products. They cost a few cents. Ours, unfortunately, don't. They don't cost a few cents. First, the tire has to be turned into a granulate. Then we have to add it with a very expensive binder. We have to put in additives. We have a production process. But we have some incredible advantages. We have acoustical results that the foam industry would love to have, but they don't. So I think we can concentrate on the good aspects and try and develop those. Not all products are good for all applications. There are some products that, you know, just don't pass the test because they don't stand the weight. And of course, nowadays, as we saw in the earlier discussions, the products, they must last. They must last over the lifetime of a building. For me, the balance sheet is very open. We have a circular economy, yes. We have an independent industrial sector, yes. Our material, oh, I'm sorry, I've gone backwards. So, I have 1 minute and 42 seconds. If anybody would have any questions, I would be pleased to answer them. Otherwise, I thank you very much for listening to me.